fragments of her words. Once I distinctly heard her say, "You're right, he really is oblivious." When I asked her later what that was about, she brushed it off with a smile. "Just girl talk," she said, and I didn't press further. Now I wonder if every one of those conversations was part of something bigger, something she was plotting right under my nose. The argument started not long after. They were small at first, almost silly fights over things like where the car keys were or why the groceries weren't put away properly, but they escalated quickly, her tone sharper than I'd ever heard before. I remember one time after one of her long calls when she stormed into the house furious that I hadn't taken out the trash yet. It was 10 minutes past the usual time. 10 minutes. It turned into a full-blown shouting match with her calling me lazy and unreliable. At that time, I chalked it up to stress, but now I wonder, was she looking for reasons to paint me as the bad guy? It wasn't just her tone, it was the way she looked at me during those arguments. Her eyes weren't filled with anger or frustration, they were calculating, as if she was cataloging every word I said and every reaction I had. There was something almost rehearsed about her outbursts, as if she was trying to provoke me to get me to say or do something she could later use against me. The distance between us wasn't just emotional, it felt intentional, strategic. I'd catch her staring at me sometimes, a faint smirk playing on her lips like she knew something I didn't. Those moments would pass quickly and she'd go back to her normal self, laughing with the kids or scrolling through her phone like nothing had changed, but something had changed. I could feel it even if I couldn't put my finger on it. And then there were the little things she started doing that made no sense. Changing the password on her phone for security reasons, insisting on handling all the bills herself when we'd always done it together, or canceling plans at the last minute because she was too tired. At that time, I saw these as quirks, maybe even signs of her needing some space, but now they feel like pieces of a puzzle I didn't know I was supposed to solve. In hindsight it's so clear. Every fight, every hushed call, every cold glance, it wasn't just a symptom of a rough patch, it was her building a case against me brick by brick while I stood there oblivious to the walls closing in around me. The moment it all came crashing down wasn't because of some forgotten phone or suspicious text, it was much messier than that. It was in the middle of one of those explosive arguments that had become our new normal. This time it was about the thermostat. She stormed into the kitchen shouting about how I'd left it set too high, and I shot back asking why every little thing seemed to set her off lately. That's when it happened. "Maybe if you listen for once, Jake, we wouldn't have to go through this," she snapped, her face flushed with anger. Time froze, the word hung in the air like a bomb waiting to detonate. Jake, not Albert, not even Babe or Han, Jake. Her eyes widened for a fraction of a second before narrowing into a glare. "What?" she said, her tone sharp like she was daring me to call her out. My stomach churned but I tried to keep my voice steady. "Did you just call me Jake?" I asked, my words measured and deliberate. She scoffed, rolling her eyes as she turned away. "Don't be ridiculous, Albert," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "You're overthinking again, you always do this, you're so paranoid." But her slip had already cut deeper than any knife. I stared at her, searching her face for any sign of remorse or guilt. Instead all I saw was anger, venomous calculated anger, as if this was somehow my fault. "Who the hell is Jake?" I demanded, my voice rising despite my effort to stay calm. She crossed her arms, glaring at me like I was the problem. "You're being insane," she snapped. "Jake is nobody. Just stop it." Her deflection only made the pit in my stomach grow. My mind raced, connecting dots.